It is blinking. You're 13 minutes deep into this. All right,
man.
let's go. Yeah, that's a pretty good way of starting this.
Yeah, jeez.
Welcome everybody to Two Dudes, One Car. Wow, that was a little off script. By the way, this is a podcast. You guys can find it everywhere. You can find it on Spotify, Google Cast, Apple, everywhere you want to. Also on YouTube. We're not on Facebook because we don't trust Marky Mark. No, I'm just kidding. There's just no English-speaking audience on Facebook.
Did you see? I saw him at a UFC event recently, and he was looking more human than ever.
Dude, I actually love what he's doing. I love because he's been taking classes.
Yeah.
To be a human.
No,
I don't care what anyone. I don't care what
100%.
anyone says. Go back and look at videos of him 2017, and then go look at the progression on the Lex Friedman podcast on the first one, second, and third. He's taking classes on how to be likable and how to relate to other people. He legitimately is.
Maybe that's what we're doing wrong, though.
We need to take some classes.
I need to take some classes on being likable.
By the way, imagine like where'd he go to hire like because it's Mark Zuckerberg.
That would be.
It's Mark Zuckerberg. Where'd he go to find like a teacher that, by the way, knew that couldn't say anything because you don't want people finding out that
I'm learning how to be a human.
Yeah. Imagine, where the fuck did he find the post-it for it? Like, how do you find someone
Just
like
a telephone pole somewhere. Is your name Mark Zuckerberg? I can help you.
I don't know, but he's been doing a great job. You saw? Did we talk about the back and forth he had with Apple or
No.
not? About the Vision Pro? Have you not seen that video?
Oh yeah, we did talk about that.
we did.
We did talk about that.
And then when he was in Vegas at the UFC event, it was fucking hilarious because he's like, I'm out of context because I don't know who was fighting that weekend, but he was part of one of the fight crews, and they're focusing on him in a video, and they're all passing towels and grabbing shoes and all this shit, and he's like trying to do something, but you know when you have like a rich friend and he shows up and he doesn't know how to do anything manually, and he's just sitting there and doesn't know what to do with himself. That's kind of like what he was doing.
I watched the entire fight card, and I don't know who was fighting, so.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
But that might have been a highlight.
I like what the Zuck is doing. Hey, I saw on Instagram that you got the Guntherwerks.
Yeah.
How's that? I'm obsessed with all of these modifying like older car companies,
100%.
whether it's the Alfa Romeo with the Alfaholics. I think that's what they do. Singer with their cars. Guntherwerks is another one that does Porsche. Tell me what they are and tell me how the experience was.
So this was like the most spur of the moment epic thing ever. I went to Guntherwerks to pick up a fully Vorsteinered out E46 M3, like a 2001 M3. The owner of Vorsteiner, Peter, created Guntherwerks after the fact, which is really badass. I mean, coming up with a company that already kills it, has massive respect in the automotive industry, and going, I could probably do more now.
No, I didn't know that he was the same guy. Good for Peter.
So went there to pick up this M3 I've got it at my house for the weekend to film a review on. And he's like, hey, while you're here, do you want to like film a factory tour? And then like midway through, he's like, hey, do you want to like drive the car? And I'm like, what car? And he's like, oh, our test mule here that has like too much horsepower to function. Not to function, but like beyond belief. But for people who don't know, Guntherwerks is like Singer on steroids. It's more of a performance-oriented, hardcore 993 generation turbo with their first couple cars were naturally aspirated. The new one that's coming out is turbocharged. Yeah. And it was fucking insane.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's like 2,700 pounds. So it's lighter than, your McLaren. And they don't want me to say, they showed me the dyno plot. I'm not quite sure why. I guess because they're maybe going to detune it for the production version. Yeah. But it makes 750 horsepower, but actually it makes way more than that.
Oh, my God.
And so it was so fast. So fast.
Where's the factory?
Huntington Beach.
No way.
Yeah.
How many cars can they produce a year?
I don't know the answer to that. They said they've made about 40, and they're making 75 of this turbo version.
Uh-huh. So they're 40 deep. They already put out 40 cars.
So I guess, I would guess maybe between 10 and 30, somewhere in there.
I got to say, I'm not a classy guy, and I hope this is not bad for Peter and his business. I'm not a classy guy, so I like Guntherwerks way better than Singer. Yeah. Because Singer is kind of like they appeal more to the classy guy.
Sure,
like the,
100%.
And there's none wrong. It's just like different crowd. I'm not a classy. I'm a Lambo type of guy. Like all that.
No,
bullshit.
it's like the most fuck you Porsche of all time.
It is, dude.
And so this was their test mule. No interior, basically.
Yep.
No sound deadening. They have a flat fan from a Porsche 917 in the engine. So the engine bay just looks
No
crazy.
way.
And apparently that's never been done on a road car. The only cars it's been done on is the 917 and the 935, which
That's
are race
sick.
cars. And they made it street legal somehow. And manual transmission, so raw. Somehow it's still easy to drive. At first it was really intimidating because, it's a...
What would
Well,
you compare
as a
it with?
mule, it was like a $1-2 million car.
Yeah.
So what would I compare? Dude, it doesn't really have
You've never driven
any
anything
direct
that you're like. It could be like a maybe a correlated thing that's distant. The other thing was slower. I don't know. Nothing.
This is not a comparison that does it justice, but I'd say the only similar-ish thing I've experienced, I don't know why this came to mind, I drove a R34 GTR with a sequential gearbox, and it had like 1,000 wheel horsepower. And something about the power, the turbo noises, and
Yeah.
this Porsche had straight cut gears, so it was like, so sick. But it had no turbo lag, which doesn't make any sense. It like instantly you floor it, and you're like,
Why? How?
I don't know.
It's just regular turbos. It's not
Yeah,
even electric.
with some gypsy magic, but no like electric assist or anything. It didn't make sense. And so they took me for a ride with the lead engineer and powertrain development engineer, and it has 3 power settings, 550, 650, and 750. I didn't know that. So he floors it when we get onto the freeway, and I was like, damn, this is fast. And he goes, oh, that was 550 horsepower. And I'm like,
What?
no, it wasn't, dude. Like that was way more. But because the car is so light, it like felt insane.
Oh, yeah.
And in the top mode, it felt, I think, probably as fast as a Plaid. But while you're manually shifting.
Wait, get the.
No,
get outta
I'm
here.
dead serious.
Get out of
But
here.
because it has the sound and you're shifting, and it feels like the Plaid times 10 because you're just
Well, which by the way,
the
that's
sensory
incredible.
overload is
Yes.
just gnarly.
How much are these?
I don't know.
You didn't ask how much they were?
No, because it went from like, oh, this is cool, I'm picking up this BMW, to whoa,
To like,
factory tour, to what the,
get in the
I'm
car.
driving this thing, and then it took me till I got home to like realize, and
What
the
happened?
drive was like 2 hours to realize what the hell just happened.
How's the suspension?
Insane.
got
a price.
Just got a price. What
On the
price?
turbo,
At least the newest 993 that they're doing, 25 starting price is $600K.
okay, this one's gonna be way more
So
than
this
that.
is what I thought, because at $600,000, that's not bad.
Yeah. This has got to be, type in the Guntherwerks Turbo MSRP.
I love to get a Guntherwerks. I think they're the
yeah.
most gorgeous cars ever. They're sporty. 950 for the turbo.
It felt like every bit of 950 and more.
Which, by the way, that's hard to get.
It is hard to do.
You get in like, for example, like a Singer, and they're $1 million cars.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing. Like that is very hard to justify like $1 million car.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying like on this one you feel like
So I've driven a Singer and a Guntherwerks, and when I drove the Singer, I got to drive one really hard. It sounds great. The steering's amazing.
4.0 or 3.7.
4.0.
Okay.
It was an awesome car,
Is it 3?
but it left me feeling like I would need, a $500 million windfall to buy one of these.
Yeah.
Versus the Guntherwerks was so gnarly that I was like, it's not the first thing I'm going to go out and buy, but it was like, I don't know. If I had like, I don't know
An
what
extra
the number is, but
an
like
extra $1 million.
some extra million lying
Yeah.
around, I think it might be the best $1 million car.
I even the 600 ones, like to me,
Yeah.
because I remember I messaged them. I was like, dude, what's the base price? And they replied, they were like, this. I was like, damn, car's really cool. And then they messaged me like fucking 7 months later. We have a car. Do you want to look at it? And I totally forgot to reply. I was like probably getting stoned somewhere and absolutely forgot. But man, I love them. I saw them in Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, at the Concours de la Grange. Justin Bell says it's so nice.
How was that? I haven't gone.
Dude, by the way, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. They invited me and they treated me like a king. I went to every awesome restaurant in Vegas. I ate the best food all by myself, by the way. Just had
Hell
my
yeah.
headphones on. I got awesome wine, walked around. Oh my God. I had so much fun. And the event was really, I think they have a chance of doing like doing great. I would just add something about driving the cars, Goodwood style,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
The Pebble Beach is too steady, it's too standstill. Like you need more of an experience. As a car guy, you don't want to go somewhere just to look at cars. I can go and do that at a show. I can do that at a showroom. I can do that in like on the weekends on Supercar Sunday.
Yeah.
And just go somewhere and do that. But really feeling the experience and taking a like real joy out of it. That if Vegas can just pull that off, that will be a perfect show.
I mean, it is possible. They could just do it at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway or someplace.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't.
I
think it's
agree,
too
though.
far-fetched.
That I think the best part about any car show is, well, there's not very many that are like this, but the Goodwood hill climb, and because it's not a track, the grandstands are so close.
Yeah.
Because tracks are like limiting with where people can be.
It's quite dangerous, but
It is so dangerous.
so
I don't know
nice.
if it could be in the U.S., but I love it.
it's Mr. Lord Bollington, dude. That dude's got
Yeah.
he's got it made. He's got it made. Now, we were right before the show started. By the way, Guntherwerks, if you guys want to put me in front of the line, let's do something. They're like, why the fuck would we do that, sir? There's so many nice rich people that want to do this. Yeah, how about you get all the way back? Yeah, no, I love those cars. So awesome for you. I'm jealous.
So
I'm
sick.
very jealous.
Yeah.
That's one that I'm dying to try. We were just talking about Lucid and Rivian, dude. So as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Rivian. Massive. Lucid, not so much. Like
Right before this podcast, we noticed it went down a lot. So I went in for the first time on Rivian.
Yeah.
So we'll see in the next podcast we do whether I'm mad or not. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. Alejandro lost me 10 grand in the last week. This is
I don't
awesome.
know. Wait, by the way, I love that it's my fault, right? I'm just man, I'm
No,
buying
he
this
actually
shit.
controls how the Rivian stock does.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
no, all jokes aside, could be a good play. It dropped a lot recently.
A lot. So they did they had earnings, and as earnings are coming, I'm learning how to trade, and I'm getting really good. But the one problem that you always have when you want to be a trader is your emotions, dude.
Yeah.
Like fear and greed are a motherfucker.
Really good at trading reminds me of somebody who thinks they're really good at playing roulette.
No, it's impossible. No.
I'm slightly joking.
No. And by the way, it's just like short-term moves and all that stuff. Not like I get all of them right and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not at all. But what I'm learning basically not to lose all my money. That's what I'm getting good at.
That's a good goal.
That's what I'm getting good
Yeah.
at. How about that? And I started seeing Rivian and Lucid. I mean, we talked about this before, and I've made videos about it, like dropping. And I was like, man, this is really cheap. And I understand why. There's like the big FUD right now. And we're going to talk about a piece of news of Mercedes actually saying, we're not going that hard with electrics. We want to take it easy. We're going to slow down, and we'll get to the piece of news, right? So there's a lot of movement right now on the Ford, GM, all of those guys saying, we're not going to dive so much into electrics. Clearly, there's no demand for them, right? Which, by the way,
That's weird. Yeah.
They're grouping all of them together. Like Tesla's the same thing as them, and no one wants a Tesla, no one wants a Rivian. But just because they're failing, they're putting everything.
Yeah, there's
together.
no demand, but the Model Y was the most sold car in the United States.
That's what I'm getting at.
That's
like
pretty crazy.
It is one of the most ridiculous narratives that's out there, but the narrative is out there. So whenever you smell like there's blood on the water, you want to come out and like eat, right?
100%.
So Lucid. I own Lucid. I had a strategy where I invested in Tesla, Lucid, and in Rivian. I put Tesla as my Bitcoin, my safety bet.
Yeah.
And I put, like, say, out of $100,000, 20%. Rivian is my Solana. Like, it has a big chance. It's doing really great. It's better than others, and people have not appreciated yet. So out of 100, I put, let's say, 70 on Solana.
Oh, wow.
And out of the 100, I put 10 on Lucid. So Lucid is just like, 5 on Lucid, literally. So there's a gap there between Tesla and Lucid. I'm just doing a relation.
Sure.
And so Lucid is my smallest position, but I'm hoping that it explodes. So comes this whole thing. I position myself. I go in. I find a really cheap price to come in. So I'm on Rivian at 15.3. And I see the price like before all of this is happening, like going up and down, but like to 1680, like wanting to flirt with 17, and that's like it's getting exhausted. And I'm looking at the price. Excellent job, Sergio.
What just happened?
He just dropped his water. And I just see the price like trying to go somewhere, but like being pressed down.
Yeah.
So as I'm looking at that and earnings are coming up on Rivian, everyone like, again, you got to be a robot if you want to be a good trader, which I want to.
Yeah, that's hard. How do you do that?
I want to become a good trader. I want to become a robot. So a lot of times you listen to your own self thinking that you know better than the robot, which
Sure.
big problem.
Absolutely not.
So it's coming. Yeah, it's about to be results time, and I'm doing a live with. I have a channel in Spanish where I talk about this shit, and I have members only where we just talk about this. Not for the money or anything. That actually was not the intention of why I started. That was just to talk to them, but I'm creating extra content for them, and I'm also like telling them what trades I'm doing.
Do you trade after smoking?
Yeah, anytime.
Really?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You think
opportunity comes left and right.
Yeah.
Left
I'm
and
just
right.
curious if that makes
Yeah.
it better or worse.
No, because I'm not listen, I got to be able to function.
Yeah,
There
of
are
course.
some
There's a
times
limit.
when I'm reading and I can't read what that's
Yeah.
where I go like, all right, hands
Yeah,
up.
that's not helpful.
But no, for the most part, yeah, absolutely. And also after drinking, which by the way,
That sounds reckless.
that one is the worst.
Yeah,
Smoking is
that
nothing.
sounds
Drinking is bad,
horrible.
dude. Drinking is
That
bad.
sounds horrible. We come over and rip a shot of his mezcal, and I'm buying Rivian
No.
instantly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's just what happened.
That's incredible. This is incredible.
Put 100 times leverage. I'm going
Yeah.
all in.
No, well, I don't do leverage.
I've never done that.
On
I
these,
don't even
no,
know
no.
anything about it.
Don't touch that. Like until you become really good and you have years of being good. Because now I've only had a 1 year where I'm like doing well.
Sure.
And when you do well, like out of 10, you get 7 right.
Yeah.
And 3 wrong. You know what I mean? It's not
course.
perfect. It's impossible.
Well, if you're
to
winning
get
51% of the time, you're still
you're
winning.
golden. Yeah. So and also mitigating risk and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you want to be a robot, and they tell you if you want to be a good trader. Earnings coming up, shit's volatile. If you're positive, get out and just wait it out. Because what if they report something you didn't expect and shit goes down?
I feel like most of the times companies report earnings, the stock drops.
It's a weird thing.
Maybe just the companies I've been
No.
tracking.
For the most part, it does because they sell buy the rumor, sell the news.
100%.
Right? Which
yeah.
is sell whenever they give you the good news, you sell it to the
Yeah.
idiots that are coming in
Sure.
that don't understand like the basics. So that's basically like that. And on the principle of this is like sell the risk, be stable, don't fuck it up, and then buy again. So the day or 2 days before, it went to almost $16, and I sold. I made like 3-4%, whatever it was, and I sold. And when earnings dropped, I saw that they beat the estimate. So Rivian, just to talk about Rivian, for example, Rivian actually under earnings, they were expecting to make 1.288 billion, and they made 1.32 billion. That if that was Nvidia, everything just goes up like crazy.
And that's
right?
gross, not profit.
That's
right?
no. That's
Yeah,
gross. They're actually on EPS. They're actually minus 136. So 136 means they lost 1.3 billion dollars. yeah. So they're on the negative still.
Yeah.
But they're turning it around,
Sure.
right? The problem is inflation's going up, so shit costs more money. So you have to reduce costs. And what I don't want to get into too much of the company.
A really quick question. As somebody
Yeah.
who's a newfound Rivian investor as of 5 minutes ago,
Yeah.
what percentage upwards would you be like, all right, take the profits?
So it depends. This is what.
Like, give me a sample, like, different time frame options. Like, if
This
it goes
is-
up 20% in the next month, should I dump it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever you're trading anything, and this is something I'll tell anyone, have goals.
Yeah.
And this is what I was telling you that I want a tattoo on my hand because
Yeah.
when I don't do it, that's when greed kills you.
Sure.
Like right now, I bet on natural gas.
Yeah.
Natural gas was like so cheap. And I said, we got to go all in on natural gas, buy at $14.90, which the bottom was like $14.80. The next day, when I go in like with everything, the next day, natural gas rips almost 13%.
Wow.
13% in just one day. And my rule is one day, if I get 5%,
Yeah, that's fair.
I take it.
Sure.
In a week, if I get 10%, I'll take it.
Okay.
In 2 weeks, if I get 20%, I'll take it. And if I make 50% in a month, I'll take it.
That's crazy.
Right? That's the way I work. So on this one, because it's a long play, this is what I set it up to be, which is retarded now that these are the things that you're learning. So I set it out to be like a year long-term play because I know it's going to triple or quadruple. And when it goes up to 13%, I say, if it touches 15, I'll sell and buy again when it drops. Because I know it's going to drop. There's a big gap. It's a technical thing where you know the price is going to go hunted again, like the low price.
And how often are you looking at Rivian stock every day?
I'm like a fucking, it's like the casino of Alejandro.
No, it is addicting.
Yes.
I had a year of my life where I was pretty much day trading. I wasn't too good at it. This was a long time ago, but
it takes like 3-4 years.
It's like really exciting.
Yeah.
It's like
a casino.
Yeah, it is like a casino. Although I hate casinos because the losing feels worse than the winning, and I just feel like a dumbass for being in there.
Yeah.
Versus trading, it's like maybe if you know what the hell you're doing, you can win. And you can win huge.
Yeah.
But the casino is like you're lying to yourself unless you're cheating that you're going to be winning long term.
Oh, no doubt. I think the casino to me is more of a tax on my time to be there.
100.
So I set up
a good way to view it.
I set up my budget and say this is how much money I'm going to spend in the casino, so I can spend this these amount of hours, and that's what I'm going to do.
Now, does that differ based on who you're with? Like these are like $1,000 lost an hour friends. And
no.
like I'm with Pete. Like that's like we could lose 10,000 an hour. It doesn't.
Big balls, Pete. So we got to spend.
Pete does have big balls.
$2,000 a hand.
I don't know Pete.
No, I don't.
I know.
It's
well.
just like whatever I say. My time on the casino will be.
Yeah.
I make sure that I have enough money so that I can be there and then just play small games.
Yeah.
I'm a degenerate, but I'm not a degenerate out of control.
Yeah.
I'm sure one day I will.
Do you know that Steve will do it guy? Have you
No.
heard of him? Oh,
No.
So it's just like, I don't know, influencer guy that does crazy stunts and whatnot. And I saw this clip of him talking about his he's like a gambling addict, I guess.
Oh,
he was like, I never lose more than I can afford to win. If I lose 200,000 this month because I made 200,000, I'll just wait a month. I think gambling your entire monthly salary is it's not a good,
No way.
That's not a good
And
call.
what about the cost of living? Because you lost the salary, plus you got to lose your cost of living,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what about your house? Like, whether
Yeah.
you own it completely, you still got to pay property taxes and maintenance?
I mean, look, the guy's got way more money than me, so maybe he knows something that I don't. But
I don't think so.
be safe with your gambling.
Sounds
out there,
like he's got a problem.
for sure.
But either way, on this is more of a, I look at it like cars. You know, when the Acura NSX was like fucking $80,000, the new one, I was like, this is too cheap for the car.
Yeah,
Like at some point, it's going to go up.
100%.
So you got to look at stocks in the same way you look at those cars and understand what's too cheap and what's not too cheap.
There was an F40 for $1 million.
I remember that
COVID.
too, dude. And 288s. 288s you could buy for $500,000 at some point or $300,000, and then they went to $2 million overnight.
And they're more than that now.
It was wild. And the 288 is one of the most horrendous cars I've ever driven in my life. I understand Ferrari people; they're gonna start to lose their mind right now and go like, "You don't know anything about these."
I've never been in one.
Oh,
I just know they're really rare. That's about it.
They're the worst. Like, it doesn't break unless you warm up the brakes like hardcore for a while. It's very, like, even though they added all this technology, none of that shit works. Like, it's legitimately, imagine like building a modern car back then and by Ferrari that they built like 300 of them.
Yeah.
So, or whatever the amount is.
Yeah,
like
less than
1,000.
300, I think.
I don't know what the fuck it is. But man, it's not good. I personally don't like it. I understand the hype on it, but don't like it.
If you have a 288 and want me to drive it, I'll happily find out if
You're
it's terrible
such a
or not.
cocksucker. I'll do a review and talk really good shit about
Yeah, I'll
it.
be like, wow, this is great.
This is
and have you seen the Roma? Because what a beaut. Please give me allocations.
That is my favorite Ferrari trade in any guy that owns all the
Unbelievable.
Ferraris. They're trying to convince you. The guy has a TDF, the Competizione, Enzos, Ferraris, La Ferraris, like all of this shit. He's got them all. But Ferrari made him buy a fucking Roma because otherwise they're not gonna give him the nice cars. And he'll come out like, and I'm talking about like as this was one person. This is all of those people, and they all come out and say, honestly, the Roma is one of my favorite cars.
My goal in life now is to be loving a Roma rich, because you have to be so loaded and buy so many Ferraris to be like publicly just blatantly lying. I mean, and they don't have YouTube channels. They're just saying this to their friends, and you're like, dude, come on, Ferrari's not watching. Maybe they are. I don't know.
I think they
could. Once you have 400 Ferraris, they're tracking.
They have something on you. They're like,
gotta. Oh, he said the word Roma. Activate recording now.
They go the Epstein way with it.
Yeah.
So they blackmail you with some shit.
With a Roma.
So you gotta be on top of it. So if you talk shit about the Roma, you're not getting.
You got a scandal next week.
You're not getting it. It is one of the biggest mysteries in the world, but they legitimately do. I have so many friends that do this all the time. I'm like, why? Why are you pitching me on the lowest, shittiest car that Ferrari makes? By the way, it's a nice car now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, obviously.
Would you buy a Roma or a DB12?
DB12.
Roma or Vantage? The new one.
The new Vantage?
Yeah.
The new Vantage?
The new Vantage?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I guess the Roma's not that hot anymore. I guess
I just can't get over this is the Ferrari you're forced to buy your wife, or this is the Ferrari you're forced to buy the other Ferrari. I just couldn't.
What about the Puro Sangre?
I think that's kind of cool.
You think so?
It's a V12 Ferrari. It looks like. Have you seen the side views of the Mazda?
It's like the CX-7 or CX-9, whatever it is.
Yeah,
so it's identical. It's identical. And my problem with it is it's not an SUV. Like, I know Ferrari prides itself in it's not an SUV.
That's an incredible statement.
But that's a dumbass move, because it's not an SUV. Like, it's a smaller car. It's a bigger car, and that is retarded. People love.
Is it smaller or is it bigger?
It's bigger. It's a bigger, smaller car, if you will. It's a smaller SUV and a bigger car. It's somewhere in between. It's like a crossover.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right? That's fair. That's a fair way of describing it. And my problem is, no, my housewife, and which is the standard that everyone has in their mind when you're developing a car. My housewife, right? Like, which is what you're thinking, you're buying her a Roma, wants a full-size SUV.
Yeah.
She doesn't want something that discreetly looks like a car and it's lower and it's going to give her anxiety of going over fucking speed bumps. She wants to drive something that it's clearly an SUV. That's where I think the Urus and the Cullinan like knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Because they're full-size things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think like
I just think that the NAV12 and then suicide doors is just a cool concept. I haven't driven one. I
haven't
even sat in one.
By the way, me either. I sat in one. I saw it while it was sitting in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
It was like legitimately. I was like, no way. I'd rather get in Urus all day long. Yeah. And listen, I like the Lusso.
The Ferrari's twice as much.
Yeah, but and it's twice as much, and it's just not the same. Like, I like the Lusso. I'm a hatchback guy. I grew up in Mexico, so we like more of the other standard cars than people here in this country, because those drop like crazy in price. Love that. I understand that concept, but I also understand why people don't like it. I think this is just plainly retarded. It's like when Aston Martin did the... Which one is it? The one with the four doors. The
Rapide?
The Rapide. Are you making a sports car or are you making a sedan? We're doing something in the middle. Perfect. The people in the back don't fit.
The back seats are crazy.
Are you retarded? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's always like when you're opening a company, when you're developing a product or a service, you don't ever want to be in the middle, because the middle is what doesn't sell. You want to be on a side that's evident, right? I mean, that's why even our political parties are so widely different, because it's easier to pick and entice you to buy something. Whereas if you're making a product that sacrifices on, like, go watch a movie, like, for example, a Ben Stiller, Adam
Sandler?
Adam Sandler. Jesus Christ, thank you. Go watch an Adam Sandler comedy, but it's a dramedy. You don't want to watch those movies with Adam Sandler where they sell him like it's a comedy, but it's dramatic, because you know it's going to fall. It's not fully dramatic, but it's not also a comedy.
Was that Click movie, Adam Sandler?
Yeah, but Click
That
was
was
okay.
that's a dramedy, sort of.
But Click was okay. No,
yeah.
it still was like a fun movie,
Yeah,
and it
so you're
was a
wrong.
high
It's all
concept.
right.
So I'm talking about like the one where he was playing like a gambler or whatever the fuck he was. You've never even seen it because of this.
Not the Diamonds one?
No. I don't know.
I don't know the gambling
it's
one.
It's just like you're in the middle of something and it doesn't sell. And through the years, we've all learned that. So if you're in a marketing department for such an important company like Ferrari, which by the way, brilliant at marketing, why are you letting them create a product that falls right in the middle? You know who else fucked up like that?
Who?
McLaren with the small car, the GT.
Yeah. Competing against a 911 Turbo and a Bentley Continental GT. That was basically their benchmark cars. And the McLaren doesn't have rear seats. Was an interesting...
Dude, it is stupid.
I don't get it. I don't love the way it looks. It drives nice. It's fast.
Well, to me is...
And I'm a huge McLaren fan. So to say that is like...
I would say same.
Yeah.
But I think with McLaren, the problem with that car is no one knows what they made it for. And I don't think even McLaren knows who they made it for. Because if you go some places, they'll sell it to you like, this is the Roma that McLaren makes.
Yeah.
This is the easier to drive car. But if any woman were to drive that car and feel that brake pedal, that racing brake pedal, they're going to be like, this is the worst. Fuck you. Get me back in my G-Wagon. I'm projecting my wife.
Well, they've taken daily driver like almost a step too far into the supercar realm.
It's
where
too supercar-ish.
Yeah, but then it's not a
But
supercar because it's, yeah. So I agree. When you do too many things at once, it
doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. That's why you got to focus, and that's why Rivian, we're putting our money on Rivian. So let me get back to this.
Please help me.
So, so Rivian has a really, the earnings are not bad. They beat the estimates, right? But the problem is two things. They're losing more money on the cars, right, on the last quarter. And the reason why is simple. Inflation is kicking back up. Everybody can see it everywhere, wherever you're buying something. And the other thing is they had to reduce prices because the interest rates are higher. So you want to reduce. It's kind of like what Tesla did and fucked us all.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're going to make less money per vehicle. And their loss, again, grew per vehicle sold, which went back to like $40,000 per vehicle sold. They're losing $40,000 on each one of those cars. They had it down to $28,000 last quarter, the quarter before. So now that went up. But now the big thing that made everyone freak out was on their guidance, which is when they're telling you what they're going to do moving forward. They went from saying this year we're going to deliver 80,000 cars to 57,000 cars, which is what they delivered last year.
Gotcha.
And people were like, oh, you're going to sell the same amount of cars. And they all thought that Rivian was running out of money and all that stuff. So
That is interesting, selling the same amount of cars for a lower price.
But the thing
And
is,
just taking an L all the way around.
The thing is, why are they doing this? And no one's asking that question.
I don't know.
The reason why they're doing it is because they're pausing production for a while on their factory while they update all of their lines so that they can actually be more efficient and cost efficient.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's growing pains, dude. They're not Tesla. They're not doing the gigafactories. It's a different process, but they're the only ones doing it. Like Ford and those guys, they just went like, and Mercedes, he's going like, nope, we're just going to make less cars.
But I mean, Tesla had their growing pains too. They almost went bankrupt. They make a lot of false
times.
promises. It's
a billion times.
So,
and in year one, Rivian, like I said, when you compare Rivian to anyone else, there's Tesla with a million cars sold a year, I believe, 1,000,001. And then there's Rivian with 50,000. There's no one else in between. And then after that, everyone else is selling like this amount of cars, like nothing. It's crazy. So Rivian's already made it.
and then the Fisker Ocean.
We'll talk about it on your podcast. No, okay, we'll talk about it on your side. So these guys are now on March 7th. They're going to announce like their Model Y equivalent with the R2. We talked about it before here, which is really exciting.
But that's going to come out next year.
It's going to be later. So
Later,
they're not
okay.
accounting it to this year's production because it's
Of
not going to
course.
be produced this
That
year.
I think will be the game changer for the company.
100%.
It'll be a game changer in either direction. It'll
Yeah.
either send them to the stratosphere
No,
or be a,
I think they're going to do well because the people that set up and established the company with RJ are very involved in production of cars, and you can tell.
Do you know anything about the new car?
No, not yet. No, I don't ask. Even though I have a friend in it, I
Yeah.
don't ask anything because I never want to get him in trouble. I'll
That's
get in
probably
trouble,
true. That's
but I
probably
never
true.
want to get
Yeah.
anyone in trouble.
And I don't mean that's probably true that, of course, you would get them in trouble. I just mean, like, same with me. you give me too much information.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'll
just
buy
kidding.
stock, dude. I'll buy stock.
I
You know
changed
what I mean?
I changed what I said. Give me information.
I'll Nancy Pelosi it. If
Yeah.
you guys have any insider information on your company,
100%.
I'll do it, dude. I don't fucking care. I'll use the Nancy Pelosi defense. Don't worry about it. So
What does she say? What's the defense?
no, there's nothing. She can do whatever she wants because
Yeah.
she's Nancy Pelosi.
How do we get that?
We need to be politicians.
Can we
It's
be
not bad,
self-
dude. They'll
can we
let you kill whoever you
What
want.
if we just change our Instagram thing? You know how I can say like public figure or person or whatever. We just change it to politician. Are we good?
Let's give it a shot.
Then when
Let's give it a shot.
When you get investigated by the SEC, it's like no, politician.
No. So I'll use this against the SEC. I'll be like, what happened to the tweet about the about Bitcoin ETF? What happened to that? How do you get hacked? And then they'd be like, oh, no, yeah, we're sorry. You had the same problem that we had on your phone. Yeah, right. Bullshit. So either way, Rivian says we're not going to make more than the same amount of cars that we made last year, and people freak the fuck out, and they dump the stock. Awesome.
It is interesting with the earnings thing because they did better than expected, but
Yeah.
it still went down. So
Yeah.
it's like if
And
you
it
do
went
worse
down-
than expected, it's gonna crash. If you do the same as expected, it's still not gonna do
But-
well. You have to so far exceed the expectations.
I mean, NVIDIA is taking the market on its back, right? And NVIDIA is exceeding expectations by
Yeah.
like a lot. So NVIDIA is on a tear. But for example, what happened to Lucid was it dropped 25% in a day. And today it dropped another 10, 11% on top of the 25, like compounded. So it's huge. It's lost like 35% value.
Yeah.
So if you were holding right there and didn't sell, this is why it's important for you to know how to trade and
Sure.
and learn these basic things, not even like so much, because it can save you so much money and so many headaches and so many pains in the ass, you know?
Have you seen the Nvidia memes?
Yes. Oh, I mean,
Yeah, it's
come
like
on.
Nvidia is to men as Taylor Swift is to women.
Yeah, it's incredible.
What's going on with Nvidia?
It's carrying.
What
the
are they
enti-
doing right now that's so
It's carrying the entire stock market on its back.
by doing what?
Their
Graphics cards
their
or what are
earnings
they?
keep growing.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that it's remember when we had the electric car bubble and then every company was like, I'm coming out with an electric car.
Sure.
And all of a sudden they got like $3 billion worth of finance, like Fisker.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Fisker's still able to do it.
So they're supplying components to a lot of EVs.
So what they do is they create artificial intelligence chips.
yeah.
And their chips are the best ones right now on the market. So there's a high demand for them.
Sure.
And also at the same time, they're very expensive. And on top of that, they're very expensive. For you to build a supercomputer with their chips, you need about an order of like $200 to $300 million. And then you got to remember, these things are like iPhones, dude. Next year, there's going to be a better one.
Yeah.
So you want to get your computer next year to do better? Another $300 million
What
order,
a
dude.
genius business model.
So that's what they do. Now, the problem is they're going to get into competition. There's going to be other companies now that are going to produce the same chipsets, just like what happened to Cisco in the past, where everybody thought Cisco's connecting the whole internet. That's the only thing we should invest in. And then because everybody else wanted to eat Cisco's lunch. So they want to do the same thing with NVIDIA. There's so many, even Tesla's making their own chips. Microsoft's going to start like looking into it. I believe that Apple and Microsoft are doing it. So competition's going to grow. But the thing about NVIDIA right now is it's bigger than the entire Chinese stock market. It's, dude.
What?
Yes. NVIDIA, yeah. It's larger than the Canadian GDP. NVIDIA,
What?
yeah. NVIDIA and two other companies in the United States. NVIDIA and Apple and probably Microsoft.
Is it $1 trillion company?
Um,
$2 trillion.
yeah.
Wow.
And it goes up every day, 15%, which is like $250
Wow.
billion in value created.
I feel like if you ask the average person what NVIDIA does or
No
what
one
is
knows.
NVIDIA, they have no idea.
No clue.
Versus Apple is such a household name. Like I get that it's a
and
multi-trillion dollar company.
And by the way,
That's impressive as hell.
and the thing is, their results are not the same. So NVIDIA, for example, is poised to make $88 billion this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Apple is going to make like $400 billion this year.
Wow.
So there's a big gap, but NVIDIA is worth more because of the potential, because of what
Yeah.
they're doing. So, and it's also, we're also in a bubble within AI, but at the
Sure.
same time, to me, it's hard to say it's going to pop soon when you know that AI is going to take over the entire world, right? So this is not like the electric car where everyone's just coming out and doing something stupid and naming it like $1 billion company like Fisker. This is a legit thing that's going to change humanity forever that no one saw coming.
Are you excited about AI? Or are you terrified? Or neither? You just don't give a shit.
I'll tell you the truth. I know for a fact AI has been going on and has been used at a way higher level than we all understand for many years. In 2012, it was already writing scripts for movies in Hollywood, and I remember
Really?
having that experience where I was like, "There's no way a computer wrote this." But yeah, computers were already writing scripts. It wasn't as sophisticated as what they can do now, but in 2012, it was already happening. And in 2017, I had a friend of mine that invested in an AI project, which is one of the largest company contracted by the FBI, CIA, the Federal Reserve, BlackRock, and all of those guys. It's a national security style type of company now. And in that company, he showed me a report that AI made. This is 2017. I'm just picking up at the airport and I'm like, what are you investing on right now, dude? And he goes, AI. I'm like, what the fuck is AI? He goes, artificial intelligence. I was like, oh, wow, I know a really cool term. Now it's like everybody knows it. But back then I was really cool because I knew it before everybody else. And my boy is telling me that he invested in this company where other companies will pay, like, say, a $300,000 membership a month, and they can upload all of their databases and all of their emails and all of their websites into this thing, and you can ask it any question. How can I sell more apples in those stores where I'm not selling apples and I'm selling a lot of meat? And how can I sell more meat in those stores? And the report was a one-pager, like, concise, like,
Wow.
You need to do this, because in this store you have like this thing and the distance between the shelves are like this, and that's a big difference, and people are not looking, and you would
But it
read
costs
it,
$300,000 a month for the software.
but you read it and you think it's a person writing it, like, because it feels so human.
Yeah.
But it's dead on, and it's AI, and this is what's helping all of these companies grow. And it's been going on for a very long, like 2017 they already had it. Like the
Yeah.
major companies were already paying their 300 grand a month and getting this service. So with AI today, what we started seeing with ChatGPT around November 2021 is they're giving us a beta, a training model, and we're training it ourselves so that it can actually take over our job. And it's in the same way, like, this is not crazy to think about. You're training Teslas. How is Tesla learning how to self-drive? Through miles of people driving.
Sure.
Right? Like, it's not too complicated. So you're training it, telling it, this is how I react when something's going on. This is what I do when there's danger ahead. This is how I brake, all of that stuff. You're training it. And one day, it's going to replace you. It's going to drive itself. And it's the same thing with AI all across the board. Like right now, there's programmers developing software and ChatGPT is helping them. But at some point, programmers are going to be irrelevant. They're going to disappear because we're training.
I wonder how soon until Sora comes out with the first AI YouTuber. Like the whole thing, the personality, people fall in love with the personality of somebody who doesn't exist, and they have a whole,
This already exists on Instagram. There's plenty of digital influencers
Yeah, I've
created by
seen
AI.
that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
to me.
this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just we haven't had access to those tools.
Yeah.
And now we do, but we're getting the
the dumbed
low
down
end,
version,
like
of
the
course.
stupid one that can't do anything and cannot think autonomously. Whereas on the other ones, when they ask, how can I solve this problem? It gives you an actual hard solution. To us, it's like, I have this problem. How can I get more views on my YouTube channel? And it goes, we recommend you do better thumbnails, like all the stupid shit that everyone
course.
would tell you.
Yeah.
They have like the cool
The
shit.
suggestions on how to increase your views are just incredible.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they have the cool answers. We don't get the cool answers. We train them.
What
so
kind of
that-
answers do you think Mr. Beast has?
I can't imagine. I can't fucking imagine what
got
that
'em
dude's got
all.
in his head. Yeah. So either way, just getting back to the Lucid thing. So Lucid announces, and by the way, I absolutely didn't know, because I don't care about Lucid at all, even though I'm holding that back because it's so small. I don't care. I didn't know that Lucid was also presenting their earnings report the same day as Rivian.
Really? Interesting.
So I didn't sell Lucid. So I went into it without knowing that. And I saw the Lucid report. And the Lucid report for the fourth quarter of 2023 was...
Can't be good.
Get ready. Like I said, Rivian last year delivered 57,000 cars. Divide 57,000 in 4. That's like 12,000 cars a month, right? I'm sorry, per quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So Lucid delivered 1,700 cars in Q4. And
wow.
hang on, 6,001 cars in 2023 overall.
Wow.
Only 6,000.
Did
And
they make money per car or lose money?
Oh, they lose $500,000 per car. This is what I'm getting at. It's up
Wow. How do they lose $500,000 versus Rivian only loses
because Rivian
40,000?
because you need to scale it up.
Yeah.
That's what Tesla figured out. That's what Rivian figured out.
Yeah.
That's what no one understands. You need to scale up and spend a lot of money to pull a lot of money later.
That
because
is
once you get into an
crazy.
economy of scale
Yeah.
with a company, you can make a lot of money. But that's the name of the game. And even the major ones, dude, Mercedes, Ford, those guys don't understand it. It's such a simple concept that anyone here watching you, me, can understand. But big companies don't abide by it.
That is crazy because, I mean, I get you have to scale up with the manufacturing process, but think about that. If a Lucid's a $100,000 car and they're losing $500,000, then to make a profit, we're talking about $600K. And I know they're a different car, but Guntherwerks must be making at least a little bit of a profit on their cars because it's small.
So normally,
So a Guntherwerks masterpiece costs the same to create as a fucking Lucid Air?
basically, yeah.
That's
Right now,
crazy.
it does.
That's crazy.
Right now, it does because of economy of scales,
Yeah.
dude. It's crazy. Like Rolls-Royce had a shit margin back in the day when we used to get them like left and right because they were like $300,000. They were like a 6% margin between. I can't remember. It was between 4 and
Really?
8% margin. Right
Wow.
now that they're $600,000, it's almost a
30%?
20% margin,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So yeah, it's just like different things. They just up the price on the Rolls Royces. On this, you're making more cars to sell them cheaper because you can do that. It's economy of scale.
But that is crazy. They've almost doubled the price of their cars and they're only making like 10% more profit.
Oh yeah. So okay, so they produced 2,391 vehicles in Q4, and all total they produced.
Rolls-Royce?
No. We're talking about Lucid. They so like I said, they delivered 1,700 vehicles, but they produced 2,300, right? So then they sold total in the year 6,000 vehicles, but they made 8,400. So that means they're sitting.
What's happening to
2,400.
those ones?
So it's just they're too expensive. They're too retarded. Interest rates are high, so people cannot afford to have one.
So people ordered them and then they show up and they bail on it?
I think so because you need to order a Lucid. Although Lucid can be just making cars to have them ready. I don't know, but I think it's more like people ordered, and when the car came, they were like, "I'm sorry,
Yeah.
there's no way I'm paying like this loan at this price.
Sure.
Monthly payment is crazy." So their Q4 revenue was $157 million. Rivian's was billions, 1.32 billion. They were 157 million in their Q4, and their annual revenue was less than $600 million. Annual, which is crazy. They ended up the quarter with $4.8 billion liquidity. That means cash that they have. Rivian right now, based on the price, is worth $9 billion. Okay, as a company, you know how much cash Rivian has right now in hand? $9 billion. It is fucking retarded,
Wow.
dude. I need you to understand how
Wow.
retarded this is. And Lucid, after all these disastrous numbers come out, they only dropped 10%. How? Rivian dropped like 35%.
Yeah.
It's just, in my view, there might be someone trying to buy Rivian, and they're lowering the price as much as possible to take it in. Does that make sense? Like, you don't want to buy Apple when the iPhone is coming out and all the hype is crazy. You want to buy Apple when no one wants to buy Apple.
Sure. Of course.
And I feel like they're going in the same direction with this a little bit, because financially it makes no sense. Like, it's like I feel like I'm robbing people right now, and I know it takes a while. Like, I
Robbing
remember
people with what?
like when I buy these shares so cheap. I remember when Tesla was out and it was like $100 and something the share, and people were like, you would meet people that were deep in Tesla, and they were like, I just don't understand how it's so cheap. It's retarded. It's a copy paste of that moment, and I missed it on Tesla. I'm not missing it here. It's just stupid, and everyone's like, how do you know they're not going to go bankrupt? So I talked to our friend that we know that invests like crazy money. And that dude, I got him to invest in Rimac. Although I told him to put the first big money that Rimac wanted to do, he didn't, because X, Y, and Z. And he eventually invested at a much higher valuation, but he invested and he's still doing like really good and really happy. And I called him and I was like, dude, you like buying fucking car companies? Look at Rivian right now. And he goes, tell me why is it not going to go bankrupt? I'm like, because they're making a lot of fucking cars. They have a cheaper car coming out. They have $9 billion cash and they're worth $9 billion. Even though, yeah, they're running through money, they're thinking that they're going to be profitable by the end of the year. So give it another year, 2 years. They're going to be fine, dude. And you have a cheaper product. They're also doing the vans for Amazon and all this shit. And their platform is what success to me, because they have like the skateboard platform, which is a modular drivetrain
super smart
with the batteries, where you can use it on a smaller 2-door car. You can use it on a sedan. You can use it on a pickup truck. You can use it on anything you want, or in an Amazon van, on anything you want. So there's proprietary stuff that it's really incredible that they make. So to me I'm just watching a Tesla 2.0 grow. And if you go anywhere in right here in Newport Beach, you go anywhere in Hidden Hills, anywhere high end, it's full of fucking Rivians. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, 100%.
Creating
and I've been seeing more and more, I don't know if they're Rivian for sure, but electric cargo vehicles, Amazon and whatnot.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
the Amazon cargo vehicle is Rivian. 100%.
Yeah, it's an untalked about. Well, I mean, some people are talking about it, but for the general population concept that this company could be murdering it behind the scenes, because you don't really realize that Amazon has all these Rivians.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't see a Rivian in your area because it doesn't look like a Rivian truck. But
it doesn't look like a Rivian.
But every day you get packages delivered to your house in a Rivian.
People don't know that. And now they have an out of their exclusivity deal with Amazon to make the vans exclusively for Amazon. Now they can make them for FedEx, UPS, DHL. Yeah. So it's just a serious business.
But does that mean Amazon's semi-bailing on them?
No. Amazon's still a complete shareholder from the day one. They haven't sold a single share.
Wow.
And that tells you.
Sure.
So right now it's just like pig FUD. When everyone wants to sell, that's when you want to buy. When everyone wants to buy, you want to sell. So now when you get a call from your dad like, hey, Parker, let's pretend your dad doesn't know anything about fucking stocks. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But let's pretend he's an older guy as a stereotype, not because I know him. I'm sorry, John.
Is he wood old, would you say?
I know. I don't want to get into that. So when people that are not connected with this call you and they're like, how can I invest in NVIDIA?
Yeah.
You know you got to sell, right?
I agree.
And whenever you hear people that don't know shit about cars telling you like, dude, Rivian's going to go bankrupt, that's when you got to buy. That's basically, now it can go south, no doubt.
Sure.
But you know what? YOLO, motherfucker. You only live once. Now, with that said, so that's the case with Rivian. I'm in. I'm buying again. This is the first time I didn't get the swipe experience. Everything is great. I got so lucky. And as the price keeps dipping, I have more cash ready to go and deploy on it and buy more, because I think this is never going to happen again in my life. I think this is just like a great opportunity. So I'm going to take it and see what happens. But also Mercedes is stopping their pushing into the EV full transition. They want to not make that many EV cars anymore because they're saying there's not a big demand and they want to focus more on ICE vehicles, right?
But with hybrid assist?
No. They're just talking about in general that they don't want to focus so much on the EQSs and all of those cars, and they want to focus more on the hybrids.
The hybrids.
ICE.
Because I feel like that's going to become more and more popular. Is having an internal combustion engine with electric assist.
And this is what I'm getting at. So this is why I'm mentioning it. It's great to see Mercedes take this step because honestly, the whole transition to EVs is just bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying the EV cars that are well made are not a better solution than a regular gas car. They are. In my opinion, the electric vehicle is way better than a combustion car. We love combustion cars because we drive V8s, V10s, V12s, the turbos and all that shit. But a regular person that doesn't give a fuck about those things, driving an electric car that works really well is way better than anything else. Like to me and the other thing is, because it's an economy of scale, the more cars Tesla makes, the cheaper they're going to be.
Sure.
And their maintenance is zero. Right? Zero cost maintenance. So whenever you compare owning a Toyota that you got to maintain and pay for service and take it to the shop and all this shit that you need to do around it versus a Tesla that's way cheaper, that doesn't need gas, that you can charge at home and all that stuff, it's really going to become an electric car market for the poorer people.
The only thing I will say about that is, like, if you're talking new, you're not paying for maintenance on either of the cars, because for 3, 4, or 5 years, they've got a lot of the times service covered under warranty.
I haven't gotten a single car in a long time that doesn't do that. But like the McLaren, I got to take, and it's going to be like a few $1,000s.
Yeah. The McLarens are definitely more expensive. But I wonder if we're talking about used cars out of warranty, then, I mean, there is an argument that some of these batteries, when they go bad, are going to cost a lot of money. But then on the flip side, there's going to be all these shops that are going to take apart the batteries, replace 1 or 2 cells out of the 1,000, and fix it for $100 instead of charging
battery recycling.
$10,000.
Battery recycling is a real thing, and they can already do it at 100%.
Really?
Yeah. So what you're going to see is just a replacement of the battery.
Where does it go?
What do you mean? Where does it go? They can actually recycle 100% of it. Yeah, into the ocean.
Yeah, we just push the Teslas into the Mariana Trench.
And that's where they pick them up, and then
Yeah.
they go and recycle it. They like go grab all the garbage and a few dolphins with it.
That's where the 2,000 extra Lucids go. There are 35,000 people at sea level.
That's incredible.
They dig them up and they come out with like the anglerfish thing. On the... Wow, that Lucid's crazy. What the hell?
Just octopus riding in a lucid.
Yeah.
That'd be gangster with sunglasses.
That would be sick.
I'd love to see that. I'm actually going to ask AI to make me that photo. Octopus is riding in a lucid car wearing sunglasses and smoking weed.
Yeah, that's
a dope one.
That's a brand.
That's a dope one right there. But what I'm happy about Mercedes going back into their ICE cars and focusing on that is they all fell for the trap in Europe. Like Europe, your biggest business is car making. At least in Germany, one of the biggest ones. You have BMW, you have Mercedes, you have Volkswagen, you have all these mega household brands. And then you went on and tried to switch everything to electric and stop making the other cars, but you never mastered the electric making business. So they were going to just run themselves out on bankruptcy. The reality is the cars don't pollute as much as people like to make it up to be. And there's no need in general to stop a luxury brand like Mercedes. It's not a brand that everyone drives.
Sure.
It's a more high-end brand. I think hybrids are the way to go for it. 100%
I think it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about what would a next daily driver I would like to have down the line be. And I loved my E63 AMG. It was an awesome car.
Yeah.
Now having the Plaid, it's hard to imagine going to a car that has, 600 horsepower versus 1,000. But if you have a twin turbocharged V8 with 3 electric motors and it makes 1,000 horsepower and sounds like a V8, then that's the ultimate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taking the P1 LaFerrari 918 and bringing it to
I think
to
as
a
long as you
sedan.
don't have to fix the car, because honestly, fixing those cars is basically
Sure.
impossible.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, of all people, how intricate and how elaborate creating those drivetrains and powertrains is. Like, it's insane. So the electric car does simplify it. But I think there's space and room for both in this world. It's
100%.
It's just Germany and all of Europe also fell in the trap of like, we got to change everything. We got to like outlaw these things. And I mean, we all fell for it at some point. Because fucking Jesus Christ, like, it's crazy.
I'm ready for a nuclear powered car.
But the thing is,
You just hit launch control, a
Can
bomb
I just
goes
say-
off in the back.
Can I just say, we can create, and this is something, I made this video in 2017. Nuclear energy, hands down, is the best energy
Yeah.
that there can be. But with nuclear energy, you can also power your electric car and even make it cleaner.
True.
And more efficient and cheaper to charge. And that's what no one is putting together. Like the people that won what are those cars? What are the other ones that
Hydrogen?
Hydrogen. People don't understand how complicated and how expensive it is to make hydrogen power shit.
Yeah.
They don't. They fucking don't. But they just think about, like, hydrogen's everywhere. You can just get it anywhere and just get a car to... No.
I got kind of like cummed on by a hydrogen car yesterday. I was driving
What?
I was driving a press car home to my house. It was perfectly clean. I was going to put it in the garage, and then it just, you know how they just piss water out of the
Yeah, they
tailpipe
do.
or whatever, and it just kind of sprayed all over the car. I'm like, damn you, Toyota Mirai.
Damn you!
It was crazy.
Oh my God. By the way, Formula One starts in a week. Did you see any of the testing that happened or not really?
No.
You're not a testing Formula One guy?
No.
Love fucking Formula One testing. It's 3 days.
Okay.
It changes. It's been changing through time. Back then, like in 2008, for example, they had unlimited test time. Like companies could just be able to grab their cars and take them out and test them out as many times as they needed with their drivers.
Are they
and
testing
no
at the
problem.
same place?
So
or?
right now, yeah, they all went to it's Bahrain. That's where they're
Okay.
testing right now, and they have 3-day tests, and they have a morning and then an afternoon session. Here in LA, it was 11 at night or 4 a.m. to watch it, and you could only watch it in F1 TV.
Yeah, so you watched it at 4.
I
sure.
watched it. Yeah, not 11 p.m. 11 p.m.
Yeah.
is not my. Yeah, I'm out by 8 p.m.
That's
But-
like I'm cruising well into the evening. You've been asleep for a day and a half already.
Yeah,
You're
and-
ready to wake up at 2:30.
Absolutely. With
Start your Mark Wahlberg routine.
I go to church. I pray to Jesus.
Yeah.
How can a guy that's so jacked and so rich do those things on Instagram? Either way, I think it's fucking incredible. I do love Marky Mark.
No, he seems awesome. You think he actually does that shit?
Uh-huh.
And I don't even remember if that was Mark Wahlberg. Who
Dude,
had
Mark
that crazy
Wahlberg,
routine. Maybe I think it was him.
Every time Mark Wahlberg comes up on my feed, I think Mark Wahlberg's one of the coolest dudes out there.
Yeah, he's a badass.
So this is what you think. Mark Wahlberg, exercise, epic movies, action, like comedy, because he's also funny as fuck. And he's got all these things. He likes cars. He's an entrepreneur. He invests in different businesses, like all these things. And all I get out of Mark Wahlberg's Instagram is Mark Wahlberg doing something Catholic, like leaning down and praying, going into church, getting the ash in the forehead. I'm like, come on, Mark. Come on.
Maybe we're missing out.
Maybe,
You know?
Maybe. I
And
feel
these
like
people are praying 5 times a day
And
in
it's working.
Dubai, and they've got cars you've never seen before.
well, that's what the
So
weekend
I
was
think-
saying, right? We don't pray for I don't know what, but we just pray for cars.
Yeah, pray for shoes.
We don't
girls.
pray for
Yeah, exactly.
cars.
Something like pray for love, maybe. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we don't pray for love. We just
Yeah.
pray for cars.
You
So
just
maybe-
need to like do really high pitch and talk about sexual things, and that's basically the
Oh, I
weekend.
will. Oh, I will.
You know,
It's
what
the
did I
opposite.
just start?
I'm actually from
This is weekday. All right, let's hear a weekday.
from tomorrow on, you guys are gonna see me just praying on all my social media. And if by the end of the year I don't have the most expensive car in the universe, that Rolls Royce that's like $25 million,
Yeah.
then I failed. Because this is guaranteed. I feel like this is a
Could
sure
be
win.
worth a try.
Rivian goes to $1,000. I become one of the richest people on earth because Rivian like gives me an extra bonus for buying like shares when no one's buying. Blah blah blah. Yeah, that's what dreams are made of. So either way,
It's like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna tell anyone, but when I become super rich, but there will be signs. You just like your entire page is Scientology.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. When you see me with Tom Cruise, dude, in the
Exactly.
pictures, that's when
You,
you're
Tom
gonna know.
Cruise, in a fighter jet with there's just a bunch of hypercars.
That's when you know.
That's when I
That's
know.
when you'll know.
Yeah.
Oh, no. But just to close this, on F1, just for F1 testing, want to
Yeah.
keep you updated. So you have the 3 days because I know it's kind of hard, like with all the things that they do to keep up. So they have 3 days of testing. They separate it in morning and afternoon sessions. Normally, you have one driver do the morning, another driver for the same team do the afternoon session. Sometimes you have like drivers do a full day, then the other one, and then they split another one. Whatever. You're never going to get real numbers out of testing, which is interesting
Why is that?
because they're doing different run plans. You're getting the track in the morning and in the afternoon, changing like 5 degrees of temperature is completely different. Sometimes they're going to do, for example, I'll tell you right now what they were working on. Like, for example, Ferrari last year was really closing the year well. So they were expecting their car to be really, really good. So Ferrari, in the test, overall, they had the fastest time this year with Carlos Sainz driving the car. Now, that doesn't mean anything because he was driving with a softer tire, which is the fastest tire. He was probably on a lower fuel tank, which makes a big difference on the weight. Conditions were right.
Sure.
But
And nobody else on the track.
could also be no one else on the track, no one was in the way, whatever it was, like those situations. So when you see the overall Ferrari, people should be excited. It kind of seems like in their long runs that they did in race simulation, because you do race simulations, you do like 18, 20 laps pretending to be racing with full tanks and seeing how the car's behaving, if you're getting a lot of tire degradation or not. Like, you're putting all those elements out. So this is why whenever you see like the fastest car on testing might not be the fastest car in qualifying.
I wonder if there'll ever be a time where to test the F1 cars, they use autonomous driving or a robot to run the exact same lap every single time to test different things.
So I think
versus a human.
I think in the future that's doable, but I don't think you can replace the humans at any point, because no one gave a fuck about Formula One in America, for example. No one cared about Formula One until they found out about the drivers.
Yeah.
When they met them on Netflix, they were like, whoa.
I'm not talking about replacing them in the races. I just mean, could you get more accurate data? Probably, maybe not.
Well, you get simulators, and then you compare, like, within the simulator what happened.
Yeah.
Then you put it in real life, and you're like, all right, there's this delta on what the performance is like right here in real life versus the simulator. So we got to correct the simulator data so that it aligns better with reality. So in a way, they kind of do that, if you will. But then you get the driver because you need like their live reflexes, right? So Ferrari did that. They did really well. Their biggest concern was every time last year that they were in a race, they start the race strong, but over time they burned their tires. So they were focusing hardcore on long runs, make sure that they were not burning their tires. It seems like they were doing great. So I'm excited for Ferrari. That's cool. No problem. And they did the most laps behind Haas, which is also good because they've had some reliability problems. So that's excellent news for everyone. Now, Mercedes was more focused on understanding their new suspension. They have a brand new car. They don't have a Frankenstein anymore. They were able to create a proper car from the start with a new aero design that they thought was the best. They were testing different configurations aggressively. And it seems like the one thing that they fixed, we don't know, like no one knows how Mercedes is going to do this year, which it drives me nuts because I'm a Mercedes fan. But it seems like how unpredictable the car was in the past two iterations of it, that might be gone. Like,
why would you know how they would do at the beginning of the year anyways? How would you know that?
On testing and running?
Yeah, I mean, maybe never mind.
No.
Isn't every year have a bit of uncertainty?
There's uncertainty, but the thing is, it's rare when a top team like Mercedes that won 6 championships in a row, basically, or 7, when a team like that fucks up.
Yeah.
They won 8 constructor championships, I believe, in a row. 8 or 7. 8, I think. So when a team like that is not finding the right setup for the car for 2 years and not winning a race, you're like,
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
What the fuck? And why is there so much difference between what you're getting on the simulator versus what you're getting in real life? Why? So right now seems like that problem that they've had for 2 years, they might have under control.
That'd be exciting.
Because
when Lewis leaves?
Thank you.
Wait. But he has this season?
Yeah, this season is the last one.
Okay.
Yeah. But I just don't think it's going to be a good one. So Red Bull, for example, like that's the last team that I'll talk about because the other ones are a little bit of they're staying in a little bit of a mystery and there's not much to talk. But Red Bull, they're stronger than what they look like.
What's the name of their car? RB20?
The RB20. The RB is Red Bull 20.
What's 20?
20th iteration of the car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then you have W15. W15 is the Mercedes for this car.
And that's the 15th iteration?
Or
no?
Of this one, yeah.
Oh,
then you have the MC, like the McLaren is the MCL 37, I think. 37 or 20. I think it's 37. And the MCL is McLaren. And
so how do they have so many more iterations of their car?
Because McLaren has been around for way longer in a more competitive part of Formula One without disappearing.
So what's Ferrari on?
Ferrari changes their name. It's the SF. Is it their SF90 right now, Sergio? No, SF90 is the old one. I think it's the SF. What is it? It's just I need a full season. SF175. The SF175. Yeah. The SF175. So sometimes they just change like the I don't fucking know.
Who knows?
But normally that's what it means.
Surprised
like
it's
the
not
number.
the SF150.
Like the Williams. What's the Williams?
Well, no, actually, the new one is the SF24 now.
SF24.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
That
SF
makes-
and the year 24.
Yeah.
Well, which one's the Williams? The Williams is interesting because they just started with the development of that car not that long ago, and right now like the Visa Cash car, whatever, it's like the VK whatever car.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But that's the one because it's the first iteration of that team.
The
'cause it's a
Venmo,
brand new
PayPal,
team.
Cash App,
It's the
Bitcoin.
Visa,
25.
Cash App. I mean, Jesus. They have all these names. But Red Bull, they showed up and they seem to be stronger than last year. Their design of the car is completely radically different from everything else.
FW46.
It's the
W46.
FW. Okay, so FW for Williams and 46. So again, probably 46 years in the category. I don't know though on that. I'm not a historian. I like modern shit. I don't like to. I learn as I go. I don't dig.
You do know a lot about Formula One.
I'm learning.
At least to somebody who doesn't know anything about Formula One, it seems like an impressive amount.
I'm learning.
Maybe you are. Could you imagine? You're just completely bullshitting
It's all bullshit.
me.
By the way, it's so hard to learn a sport like football, American football. I've been watching the NFL since 2010, like religiously, and I understand a lot more than a lot of people. But dude, when I talk to, because I'm lucky enough that some of the analysts and some of the players follow me back because I talk about football here and there. And when I talk to them, dude, you realize how little you know. It's the same thing in racing.
Are you talking about American football? Or,
Yeah,
or
the
soccer?
NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with racing. Like I talk to myself, I talk to my friends, great. And I talk to, for example, to Pato, my friend that races for McLaren.
He does talk to himself a lot.
I
Pretty
do.
crazy.
I do. It's insane. It's a lot of good chats with me. But I talk to Pato and I realize
Chats with me and chats with Shmi.
But yeah, I realize that I don't know shit when you talk to someone. Or like with Sam. You know Sam from Seen Through Glass? That dude knows everything about everything and has been following forever. Those guys like fucking historians. Now, what I understand is who's a good driver. I understand what good driving looks like. I understand what talent looks like. And I know what flashes of star in the making looks like. I know what a bad driver is. I can see that. I also
I could show you what a bad driver looks like for
you
sure.
know, yeah, I can show you. And
Put me in one of those things. I'll show you.
I invested in a company that represents race car drivers. So I'm learning a lot, but I'm still on the base level. And because I'm on the base level, it's easy for me to explain things from I didn't understand this like 5 years ago to now. Does that make sense? I think. So Red Bull is like the Mac Daddy. They've been winning everything. They've been dominant as shit. And I think this year is going to be the same thing. The thing is, and this is the question for everyone during testing, how big will the gap be? Will it be 0.3 of a second in the first race? If that's the case, then the other teams can evolve their cars and actually catch up this year and win a few races. But if the Red Bull is like 0.7 faster or a second to everyone else, which is what happened last year, Red
It
Bull
was literally a second faster.
dude,
I mean, the results
On
looked
a
like it
lap.
was more than that. Yeah.
yeah, on a lap.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's where you're like dominant and no one's going to touch you because you can still develop your car further along with everybody else.
Yeah.
So Red Bull's in a league of their own. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, to F1? Let me just
On anything?
let me just make something
No?
up.
Okay,
real quick.
perfect.
No,
Let's do it.
I think we're good.
No, I think everyone, thank you so much for watching us. I again ask you join and follow the podcast, Two Dudes, One Car on Spotify, on Apple Cast, on Apple, on Google Cast, on Amazon. Give us 5 stars. 5 stars.
Subscribe to our OnlyFans.
Subscribe to our OnlyFans.
Yeah.
That is like the only thing that's making us money right now.
For real.
And that's it. It's Parker, your boy Alejandro, Two Dudes, One Car. See you next week. Well, no, see you in your podcast.
Yeah.